Samantha, it's on, be quiet.
Phone call. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
We're going to give it a couple minutes for everybody to join us, but while we're waiting, go ahead and open up the chat window and tell us where you're from. I'd love to hear kind of who all is joining us today.
Hi, Meredith. So I see Alicia, Melinda, Shirley, Jennifer, Brenda. Hi, guys. Arizona, Florida, all places that I want to be right now.
I love it. I love it. I think we've got the bulk of folks that have joined us so far. So I want to, first of all, welcome everyone to our Michael's class. We are going to be working on a project with Rita today from ImpressArt. I wanted to introduce you to Rita as well as Jennifer. Both of them are joining us straight from ImpressArt, and we are incredibly excited to have them here. We are going to go ahead and keep the line muted, so that way we can make sure that we can all hear Rita as she's going through the steps of the project. But we encourage you guys to ask your questions and comments in the chat session. And then between Jennifer and myself, we will go ahead and make sure that we funnel some of the questions over to Rita to get answers to all your questions. But I also, as we focus on having a maker community of all of us, we're all learning. I mean, I'm even picking up all these tips from Rita as well for all of these classes. So as we're learning, if you even want to answer each other, feel free. It's like we're here to have fun and learn some new skills, and I'm glad to have you guys here with us. So with that, I want to hand it over to Rita to go from here.
All right, Jen, you want to start? Do you want to?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
No problem. Hi guys.
They don't see me, so they want to see Jen.
Hey guys, I'm Jen. I'm with ImpressArt. I handle their marketing as well as their education. So any kind of instructions on packaging, any kind of step-by-step tutorials, maybe some videos that you see online, I do along with Rita. Rita's the mastermind of all the designs, so we can't be here without her. But we're coming to you from Long Island, New York, and we are a jewelry craft company, and we make all the tools and supplies for you to make your own hand-stamped, handmade metal jewelry or keepsakes. And makers of all aptitudes, Michael's makers, artisans, crafters, DIYers, you guys can create your own stamped jewelry at home with your own personalized date, messages, or names. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Rita. Today, we're going to be making a hand-stamped keychain out of washers. And I love her idea so much that my dad just bought a new boat. And I'm actually going to make 4 washers for all 4 of his daughters and attach a little buoy keychain. So if he drops his keys in the water, they're not going to sink. So that's my plan for Father's Day. So thank you, Rita.
You're very welcome. All right, guys. So my name is Rita Panula. I am the design director at ImpressArt. I started many years ago with ImpressArt as a customer. I was lucky enough to live on Long Island. I stumbled upon this, at that point, really tiny, still family-owned company. And I would go in and I would speak to the owners and I would give them ideas, and and it just grew from there. And then a couple of years down the road, they asked me to join the team, and I did. And now I teach their hand stamping classes all over the world, which I'm incredibly blessed to do. I see a lot of the names here from either a class that I have taught at a Pinners conference or our Facebook Live. So thank you, my creative friends, for coming and taking this class today. So I'm going to start with just basics, and then we're going to work our way up from there. We're basically going to start with beginner metal stamping, and then if you have any questions pertaining to technique or the enamel marker, or if you're having any problems at the end with something that I could, have time to demonstrate for you, I'd be more than happy to do that, okay? So I am gonna take you over to my bench block, and I'm gonna walk you through the products you're gonna need to start this project, all right? So if you could just switch the cameras.
Well, that was fast.
All right. So let's see. Okay, so today's project is going to be the multi-washer Father's Day gift. This is just a precious design, okay? You can do both upper and lower, and I will show you how to utilize both fonts. Or if you just have a uppercase or a lowercase, this project's for you. We're also gonna incorporate some of the numbers. So now the font on this is our exclusive font for Michaels, and it's called Austin. It's a 3mm font, and it is fabulous. It is definitely one of my favorites that I handed over. I come up with a certain number of fonts a year, and handed this is one of my babies over to Michaels. And I'm so glad that they picked this font because it just happens to stamp out really nicely. Okay, so from the beginning, what you need when you're metal stamping is you need a steel block. Okay, the second tool that you definitely need is a brass head hammer. And we have a hammer called the Ergo-Angle hammer, and this is for sale at Michaels. And this hammer is designed, I'm going to pull you back just a little bit, just like that. It's designed for hand stamping. The reason why we don't suggest using a brass head hammer is because, a steel head hammer, like a random household hammer, is because when you hit a steel letter shank with a steel hammer, it could do one of two things. It could either spark, because when you're hitting steel on steel, or it could fracture your stamp. Also, if you're going to use why we say to use a brass head hammer is because it absorbs the shock. So if you're using a regular household hammer, the common issue that people come to us with is that if you're using a steel hammer and you have double impressions, so you'll have an A in your metal and then you'll have a slightly different A on top, okay? And that's because it bounces. The brass is a soft metal, so when you strike the stamp, it forms to the top of that shank and leaves a nice and even impression in the metal. Okay, so that's why we suggest using a brass head hammer. The second thing we're going to be using today is our Alchemy washers. Okay, and I know your packaging is probably a little bit different from mine. So these are 18 gauge. The Alchemy washer is the material itself. Let me pull one of these out to show you guys. Is a tin-based alloy, very similar to pewter. So it's much softer than your brass, your copper, and your aluminum. Okay, so when you're hitting this with your stamps, you don't want to be so overly aggressive with it, and we'll walk through that process. Then here is my favorite, my baby. This is Austin. So this is the uppercase Austin. It's a 3mm font, like I was saying before. Now with ImpressArt, any font that you purchase uppercase, you're always going to get 6 really fantastic design stamps inside of that. Okay, and in the lowercase, every lowercase set from ImpressArt, you're going to get your punctuation. So remember, uppercase is always 6 design stamps, a bonus, and then lowercase is always 6 punctuation. And that's with every ImpressArt set. Then we have Austin numbers. Okay, these are great, and you notice that we don't go to 9. Your 6 is going to double as your 9, and I'll walk you through that when we get up to the numbers part of our project. Then we have just regular keyring that you're going to use, and our wonderful enamel marker. So this enamel marker, guys, is a water-based enamel marker. Okay, it is designed to stay inside of your impressions and not come out. All right. It is non-toxic, and it will wash off your hands. So if you have a new marker Please don't overshake it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pull your tip off and you're gonna have a white tip inside. I just want you to put some pressure on that tip and wait for all of the ink to fill it up, okay? What's nice about these markers is I have a 10-year-old at home and she loves to be in my studio, and sometimes we leave, we leave our cover off our marker. If this does dry out, you always have another additional marker tip on the side of your cap, okay? And all you would do is pull this out like that, and then put your new one right back in, all right? But just remember that when you're opening these, don't overshake them, guys, because they will start to bubble up at the top, okay? And then I'll walk you through the process of how we exactly apply the enamel and when to take it off your piece. So what I want you to do is I want you to pull out one of your your alchemy washers. And I just want you to take one of your letters out. And you can use your tape to secure your piece onto your block. Okay, and you're going to just not line anything up. I just want you to remember, your non-dominant hand is where your stamp goes, okay? Your dominant hand is where your hammer goes. So I'm a righty, the hammer is in my right hand, my left hand has my stamp, okay? You always want to make sure that the ImpressArt that's on that shank is facing you. That's an indicator mark that you're stamping in the right direction. Myra, I'm using stamp tape, ImpressArt stamp tape, but you could use any kind of electrical tape. I wouldn't use Scotch tape. You could use painter's tape. So you're going to bring that down. Okay, and I just want you to get used to hitting your stamp. Okay, so place it anywhere on your washer and give it a nice tap. Okay, you see I picked an A. And I just want you to get used to just hitting your stamp if this is the first time that you are trying this out, okay? Metal stamping is all about learning your tools. And I know for many of you that have taken classes with me before, I know I keep on repeating that over and over again. But guys, this will be a breeze if you learn your font sets first. Make sure that you go through them on a scrap piece and just line them up one after another, A through Z, A through Z. And you'll see that how you'll improve, how you'll know how to hit your stamp, what angle you want it to do. So, your stamps are your #1 tool, and so is your hammer. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to, on your scrap, I want you to line up the bottom half of your stamp. I want you to put that and line that up to the edge of your metal. And I'm going to just flip my camera down a little bit more so it's easier for you to see. Do you see how I am? I'm going to put this up. Do you see how I am lined up with the edge of that blank? That's how you're going to stamp around your curve. Okay? So once you feel that you've lined it up perfectly, I want you to put a little bit of pressure with with this hand on your stamp, pressing it into the metal. Then I want you to pull you back, take your hammer, and give it one nice hit. And you're going to see that you're going to be able to stamp all around the curve of that. And I would just practice using one letter all around your blank. Okay, you could change your letter if you want. I just want you to get the hang of hitting that at the end. Now, if you are getting a bulge in the bottom, and let me try to overhit this so I can show you exactly. See that bulge right here? That's what you don't want to do. So with this scrap piece, I want you to concentrate on not so much lining it up, but I want you to concentrate on getting an impression and not over hitting it, okay? You're gonna tap it in a way, because my moderate hit is a little different than your moderate hit. So just feel comfortable with hitting it and it being nice and crisp. Not that you're, forging the metal and it's hanging out of your washer. You could get the steel block from Michael's. This is a 4x4 block. Okay, so once you feel that you've got a pretty good hang of doing your letters, we're going to move on to the first washer.
Rita, we had a question about someone asking if you can clarify what happens when you hit the metal too hard.
Okay.
Like the bulge, like you don't want to hit it too hard because it causes.
So, yes, you don't want to overhit it. So I'm hitting it lightly. First one, okay. My second one, if I overhit it, let's see if you guys can see it. Jen, can you see that? That bulge in it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is what I mean by a bulge. So this is a soft metal, okay, and you don't have to hit it so hard. Basically, when you're stamping, you're forging into metal. You're taking steel and you're forging it into metal. So it's going to cup your impression, but it's also going to spread your metal out because, your metal's not coming up, it's going out. So when you're hitting your metal, you definitely want to place it in a way, you want to hit it in a way where you're not overhitting it. Jen, is there another question?
The next question we have is more about placement than the hit, but that's going to be both.
Okay, so the placement is you're going to want, hold on, let me just put this down. You're going to want to have the curvature of the bottom of your stamp line up with the edge of your metal, so it's flush. Okay, so once you hit it, and you're going to go for your second one, your second letter, you always want to cover half of your last impression with your shank. Does everybody see that? That I'm covering half of my last impression stamp. So that's how we're going to do this one. There are other sticker guides on the market that you can use, and Michael's does sell the sticker guide, but when it comes to the washers, it's best to just know that you're going to follow the curvature of the bottom of your stamp, and when you're stamping your next letter, you're going to make sure when you line that up, your stamp itself is covering half of your last impression. Let's see if I can show you a little bit more. Okay, so that's using it on a curved surface.
Rita, we have two questions. One question is your project going forever? If it creates a bulge, are you able to fix the bulge?
Yes, you can fix a bulge. So what we have, and they are definitely at Michael's, is a sanding block. Okay, and what you're going to do with your sanding block is you're going to use your coarse side only. Your coarse side of your sanding block, guys, is only for the edges of your metal. Your medium side is to matte your piece if you want more of a matte finish. So I'm going to show you how you correct that bulge with the coarse side. So you take that coarse side, and you see I have that bulge here. You're going to take it and just run it down. And it files it right back to round. Okay?
And this is more of an advanced question, but we'll cover it anyway.
Sure.
Ellen wants to know how you can use it on a curved surface like a spoon.
Okay, so unfortunately, this letter set is not rated for stainless steel. So I would not use this font on silverware. Okay, you want to protect the integrity of your stamps, These stamps are good for sterling silver, brass, copper, aluminum, alchemy, pewter, 14 karat gold, and 18 karat gold. Now I see Michael sent a question. Can you use washers from the hardware store? Michael, I don't suggest using washers because these are not rated for stainless and you will damage your stamps. All right. How do you know that they are rated, what the font is rated for? So usually we have different fonts. The fonts that are at Michael's are not rated for stainless. Yes, we do make stamps that are rated for stainless steel, but these are not rated for stainless.
We do have a question from Frida, who is using our basic set that comes in the orange box. And
Okay.
I just want to let everyone know, if you're using our basic set, that those letters are not labeled with the identification on the side of it with ImpressArt. So we would recommend that you take a Sharpie and label them yourself before using it. And that will be your identification mark to make sure that your letter is stamped in the correct direction. And if you need any help with that, we're happy to help you, and you can send us a direct message on social media.
Okay. So any kind of washers you could use brass, aluminum, alchemy, copper, and sterling. You can use stainless stamps on aluminum, yes. Okay, so then we're going to begin. So remember, take your washer and you're going to place your tape right at the top. And then I'm going to pull out, I'm going to do my, my initials first, okay? So I'm going to pull out my R. I'm going to make sure that I'm lining it up to the bottom circumference of that washer. Did I name the set Austin because of someone? Yes. This set was named after the owner's son. So a lot of yes. So a lot of the sets are named after people in the company. So again, you want to make sure that when you're stamping with that set, you have that ImpressArt facing you, okay? Even if that letter is upside down, as long as you see that ImpressArt, that's an indicator that you're stamping in the right direction, okay? So you're going to take that down, follow that circumference with your stamp, line that up. I want you to firmly anchor your hand on your block and your tabletop. You're going to push down with the stamp, take the hammer in your dominant hand, okay? Stamp goes in your non-dominant hand, and I want you to give it one nice. And there is my first letter. Then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to use my ampersand. Well, Shirley, I'm glad you could get hooked on this. I love this. You know, for me, it wasn't, it's a passion, you know, and once you guys learn your tools, the sky is the limit. We do have stamps with designs. And I'm going to come in, line my third letter up. I'm going to make sure that I'm covering, my shank is covering half of my last impression. What age group, Sandra? I started my Girl Scout troop, and I have a daughter that's 10. I started them, I wanted to say I started them maybe at, I think it was 5 or 6. And we just did a textured program. So it's definitely, you know, you could hand over hand. It's a great way for kids to be creative. I think that jewelry making, bead working, metal stamping is a lost art now. A lot of bead stores are no longer in existence. You would be surprised that I have, for the last, I want to say 6 years that I've lived in this house, everyone comes here and wants to make jewelry. Everybody wants to stamp, and then they bring their siblings too. So my tables are always filled with children. Okay, I'm going to use my second washer now. Now, with this project, you can use uppercase, lowercase, or you can combine them. I'm going to combine them today. I'm going to combine my upper and lower, but you don't need to use both your upper and lower. It's completely personal preference. So I am going to start my second. Let's see, Pam asks, is it better to stand or sit when stamping? I always suggest that you should sit while you're stamping, okay? You wanna sit and you want your torso nice and straight and parallel with the block and your hammer. So then I am going to start with the name. So again, I'm going to take the letter, make sure that it's lined up with the edge circumference of my washer. Kim, yes, you can start, you can stamp on both sides of the blank. There is my S. Then you're going to take, I'm going to use my lowercase, and same rules apply to my lowercase. I'm going to make sure that my shank is covering half of my last impression made. I'm going to make sure that I'm following the circumference of my stamp. There is my A. My M. A. N. And now you don't have to move your stamp, guys. Rotate your block. The spacing is the same, Cheryl, for both the upper, lower, and symbols.
Delinda's asking what gauge is the washer?
The washer is,
And I believe it's
18 gauge.
yes.
Yes, I believe you can use a coupon for the stamps. So now it's personal preference. I'm going to go to my numbers. So you could either continue your numbers around, or you can use the opposite side, like, you know, the top side of your washer. It's really going to go all the way around and move around on your key ring. So I'm going to do it a lot like I did this one right here, Oliver. I will show how to tilt and tap. So I'm going to start with my numbers. I'm going to start with my 6. Again, same thing. I'm going to make sure that I'm following the circumference of my blank. And I'm going to leave a little bit of space. I'm going to come in with my 2.5 heart, my whimsy heart, and I'm just going to place it right between where I like it, okay? Then I'm going to finish my numbers.
Rita, while you're stamping, we have a question from Angie asking, can you only stamp flat objects?
No, you could stamp all different kinds of objects depending on the metal that you're using. So if you're stamping something that is a spoon. Like I said before, this set is not rated for stainless, so I really wouldn't use this font set on any kind of spoon. Now, if you notice that my 0 is a little light, I didn't stamp it deep enough, you could always take your stamp back in and feel your impression. How you could do that is I would put it to the side and lightly bring it over until it falls into that cavity, okay? Once you feel that it's in that cavity, give it another little hit.
And to answer Charvy's question about stamping unevenly, I think Rita just addressed it, but you can address it again about going back into your impression and feeling for it before giving it another strike.
Okay, so my O, what I did was, all you have to do, guys, and you know, if it's gonna bother you that much, then I would just suggest taking it on the side of where your impression that was stamped too lightly and literally just move it right over. And you'll be able to fall right into that impression. Once you feel that you're in that impression, you're just gonna take your hammer and give it another little hit. A little bit more pressure. Let's see. Okay, so I have my washer, so I'm going to put that aside. And then how many people, go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was just answering Tina's question really quick. Michaels carries ImpressArt letter sets, number sets, design stamps, as well as mandala packs. So those are the motifs that you're talking about.
So starting at 19, Jen, those are the basic?
Each basic set is $20, but we do have our starter kit, which I'll link in the chat room. That's $50,
right.
And it includes everything that you need to get started stamping. All you need to do is pick up a pack of blanks, like the washers.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with my third disc, since I only have one child, I'm going to come in with my pets. So I am going to, again, line up my letter with the edge of my metal. Give it a nice hit. And now I'm going to do this one just so you can see the difference between the upper and the lowercase. I'm going to finish this one. I'm going to do all these in uppercase. Ellen, those stainless steel sets are an exclusive for ImpressArt, through ImpressArt.
And if we're trying to answer everyone's question, but if we're unable to, feel free to direct message ImpressArt on either Instagram or Facebook, and we can further troubleshoot any issues that you're having with your project.
So now I'm going to come in with my mini paw print. So this is a 3mm design stamp. Okay, and I am just going to put that right, same thing. I'm going to follow the curvature of my washer, place my stamp down, put some pressure on it, and give it a nice hit. And there is my paw print with my Elvis, my fur babies. And then I'm going to go around the other side, place my tape, and I am going to do my dog. So again, make sure that ImpressArt's facing you. You're going to place this down. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? If you're having a problem, guys, I know we got to ask for a tilt and tap before. If you're having a problem hitting it once and getting only half of your impression, this is where your tilt and tap comes in, okay? When you tilt and tap your stamps, you're going to place it down flat. okay? And you're going to hit it once. Then I want you to bring it a little back, forward, side, side. Like you said, I'm not hitting it aggressively, okay? I'm hitting it, I want to say it with a light tap, but by tilting and tapping it, I'm making sure that I get my entire impression in that metal. My R. Now the tilt and tap technique is also used for your 6mm design stamps. So after I'm finished stamping Priscilla, I will show you how you can tilt and tap your 6mm design stamps. So guys, I'm not moving, I'm holding my hammer low and I'm lightly tapping. I'm not using my hammer to tap around the stamp, I'm moving the stamp. My elbow is up, Cynthia.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rita, the paw print does not come with the Austin set, but it is a design stamp that Michael carries, correct?
It's a design stamp. It does not come with Austin set. So with the Austin set, I will show you guys. Let me just take out a piece of scrap that I have laying around, and I will show you the design stamps that we have. Actually, yes, let's do that first. So in the Austin set, there is an ampersand. There is a 4-leaf clover. There's a music note. A little embellishment. A heart arrow. And a banner design. And I'll put that up. You guys could see these. Okay, so the next step in this is we're going to use our enamel. So when we're using our enamel, I just want you guys to have a household paper towel available. So if you need to run and go get that, I would do that. So your regular household paper towel is going to be dry. Please don't put anything on it. You're not going to need it. Okay? I'm going to put that to the side. I'm going to open my enamel marker. And I'm going to go right over my impressions that I stamped. So to gauge stamping, I'm sorry guys, when I have the camera up, I don't see the questions. I saw one that just popped up. You're going to make sure that when you are stamping, you've stamped a first letter. You're going to make sure, so like Priscilla, when you go to do your second letter, you're going to make sure that your shank is covering the half of the last impression you just stamped. Now, there are sticker guides that are sold at Michael's, and after this, I will go through one for you guys. I'll show you how to use a guide. So then you're going to take a dry paper towel, and you're literally going to dab it and lightly wipe.
Rita,
Now,
we have a question asking if black Sharpie will also work.
Okay, so black Sharpie will, one, stain your hands. It's hard to get out. The enamel marker is actually formulated to stay inside of your impressions. If, let's say it's a keychain, so if a drink hits it or rain gets on it, your Sharpie will come out of the metal. So basically you're just dabbing and lightly wiping. Now, if your enamel is not staying in your impression, it's because one, you wiped it off a little too soon, or two, your impression wasn't deep enough to hold the enamel. Can you wait too long to dab and wipe the enamel up? Linda, you can. If the enamel becomes dry on your piece, you could take a little bit of alcohol, very tiny bit of alcohol, wiping alcohol on your paper towel and lightly wipe it off, or you could use antibacterial hand sanitizer and put that on your paper towel and wipe it off. But right now, I am just literally using a dry paper towel. The enamel does come, Angie, in other colors. And after I'm done with this, guys, I will do a demo on the multicolored hammers. The multicolor hammers. I'm looking at my hammer. Oh, it's definitely a Thursday, guys. I will demo the markers, and I will show you a sticker guide. The washers come in brass, which is a gold, copper, which is a rose gold, and the silver. All right, guys, so by now we should have all three of our washers stamped. Let's see what Linda, can you use a sanding? I would not use a sanding block to take off dried enamel. For the simple fact that, let's say we have, I'm going to use this. Let me move this aside. If you take your sanding block to dried enamel, it scratches your disc, okay? So the enamel takes about, I want to say, a minute or less to dry. It depends on what area you're in. We're in New York, so it doesn't take that long for us. But, you know, Jen and I have found that in Arizona, it takes a little bit longer for that enamel to dry.
We have someone asking, does the enamel need to be sealed?
No, I don't suggest, I'm not a big fan of sealing your blanks for the simple fact that even if you're, you know, stamping on a necklace and then you seal it, the seal becomes, you know, it just cracks. You know, I definitely wouldn't seal anything.
And someone suggested will a paint pen work?
No, I personally, I've never tried a paint pen. I would think that a paint pen on metal is really going to be hard for you to take off once it dries.
And are these blanks thick enough gauge-wise to stamp on both sides?
Yes. So you could see here. So I'll demonstrate this really quick. So I have my R and S on one side, and I will stamp on the other. Let's see. So you could definitely stamp on both sides of these. okay? What's nice about this alchemy is it shines up really nicely. So you could also come back in with your buffing block, okay? And you start with your fine side and then you move to your super fine. So I'm gonna just show you. I'm gonna take one of my blanks and I'm going to just run it over one side so you could see, and then use my super fine. And you could see the difference in the metals. Look how pretty and shiny that is. Okay, so that is a 3 millimeter, a 2.5 millimeter hard stamp, and it's sold at Michael's in the pack of 3. So it comes with 3 size hearts. So now I'm going to grab my key ring. And I am going to place one in, just like that, and move it around. Okay, now you're gonna get some light scratching. I'm gonna show you how to fix that. So you wanna be really careful and really just be aware that you don't want to run it through that metal aggressively.
I'm going to link the heart pack in the chat below. They come in 1.5, 2, and a 3 millimeter in that heart pack.
So now you're going to get tiny surface scratches in the metal. So what you're going to do is you're just going to buff that out with your buffing block. You're going to run it right over using your fine and your super fine. And there is your project. Now you can mat these if you choose. So I'm going to use just my scrap that we began stamping on. I'm just gonna show you the difference between you keeping it polished and matting it. Okay, so you have your enamel in there and you want to, you want to mat it. Remember, you're going to use the coarse side only for your edges, for your bumps. See that bump? You're going to knock that down just by running it over. Okay? When you want to mat your disc, you're going to use your medium. And I always tell everybody, medium for mat, coarse for your ends. Okay? And you can actually write on the bottom of your buffing block. So you're going to take your medium and you're just going to run it right over. And you want to make sure that you're staying in, you're doing it in the same motion, okay? That you're not really going all over with your block. And this is going to leave a nice matte finish. Does everybody see that? As opposed to the shiny. I'm a big fan, it's personal preference. I'm a big fan of matting your metals.
I'm just going to mention that Michael's does carry some of our artisan blanks, which are plated with gold, silver, or rose gold. And you do not want to use our polishing or matte finishing blocks on these because it will take the plating off.
You never, you never want to. It's really important, guys, to know what you're using when you're stamping. You want to make sure that if it is plated, You definitely don't want to use, like Jen said, you don't want to use any of the blocks to finish it off. So you want to make sure that your packaging says brass, your packaging says copper, aluminum, or alchemy, and that's what you use your your buffing blocks on, okay? Because the brass that we have is a jeweler's brass, so it's brass throughout. Same thing with the copper, it's a jeweler's copper, so it's copper throughout. It's not plated. We do have plated, but that's under artisan. Am I correct, Jen?
What was the question?
The plated is marked artisan?
Yes, the plated has in the, I want to say the upper right-hand corner of the packaging, there's a little tab that's in like a rose gold shimmer that says artisan.
Jennifer, at the end, we ask everyone to show their pieces, so I would love to see yours. Yes, you only buff in one direction only, unless you want to crosshatch. It's personal preference. So with this one, I went up and down, okay? Like that. Now, if I wanted to come in and crosshatch it to make a texture, you could do that also. Do you see that? It's personal preference.
Yes. So our stamps can be used on soft metals, like Rita said, pewter, aluminum, alchemy, brass, copper, fine silver, and gold. Not sterling silver. I mean, not stainless steel, sorry.
Not stainless steel. Okay, so we got a lot of questions about lining up your stamps. Okay, so I'm just gonna color these in. I personally like to mat before I stamp my piece, Lynn, but you can definitely do it after. So I'm just going to show you how fantastic these design stamps are.
And Rita, while you're showing them, they're so cute, I love them. Can you recommend the best blank to practice on that's maybe cost effective and big enough to stamp the whole alphabet multiple times?
So what I think, and I always suggest, is bracelet blanks, guys. Bracelet blanks are the best things for you to practice on, and I'm going to show you why right now. So when you get bracelet blanks, they're covered in a blue film. And this blue film is just to protect your blanks in transit, okay? So they don't scratch together. So you're going to pull out the front and the back. You can always leave the back on if you feel that that's what you want to do. And then we have sticker guides, okay? So they come, let me grab, here we go. I'm gonna grab a pack of stamp guides, okay? So these stamp guides come with circles, they come with straight stamps, and they also come with clear stamps to do a mandala, okay? With your bracelet, if you're practicing, you're lining up and your fonts, I suggest you get the pack of bracelet stamp guides. So these are very long. They're perfect to, if you're a beginner, they're perfect to practice your fonts, okay? So you're just gonna place that, you know, on your blank, all right? And then you're going to just tape it down on each side. And how you line up your stamps is this. Let me grab a pen so I could show you. You know, you're working with the Austin set is a 3mm font, okay? You're going to want to work in between. So I'm gonna do love. I'm gonna use my sticker and work with my uppercase, the same as lowercase with this, okay? I'm gonna utilize the spaces in between my orange and black hash marks, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my letter. Again, I'm gonna make sure it's facing me in my non-dominant hand. I'm gonna place it down and lightly drag it. This sticker creates a ledge, okay? So it stops your stamp, and when you're lightly dragging it, it stops your stamp. It creates a ledge. Once you feel that you've hit that ledge, you're going to press down on your stamp and give it a nice hit. And then with your next, you follow suit. You're going to take your O, you're going to make sure that you're in between both the black. Let me bring this closer to you guys. You're going to make sure that you're in between both the black and the orange hash mark. You're going to bring it down and you're going to feel that restriction in that tape. Once you feel that ledge of that sticker, put some pressure on your stamp, take your hammer, give it a nice hit. And what this does is not only does it line up your letters with your spacing, but you're also stamping in a straight line. So again, I'm placing it down, lightly dragging it, lining it up, giving it a hit. And the same thing with my E, flat, lightly drag it, and giving it a hit. So I'm going to pull that sticker off now, and you're going to see that the spacing, my spacing is perfect, and I'm completely stamped in a straight line. So the spacing is the same, Mona, with the round stickers. Okay. So I'm going to take my marker and just color this in so you guys could see. But the sticker guides, really, they are a great tool to use. You like the cheater. So yes, these are, you have to work smarter, not harder. So I'm just gonna come in because I did what I told you guys not to do. I wiped it off too soon. So I'm gonna dab it and lightly wipe. Coming from the girl who has no patience. All right, guys. So I know we had a question about colored enamel. Jen, do we have time to go into some colored enamel?
We do have 2 minutes, and we probably can incorporate that into a future Michael's class. I don't know if there's any classes after us. So we could make that maybe a class later if Laura lets us. If not, if people want to direct message us again on Instagram or Facebook, we can answer any questions and help troubleshoot anything for you.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn to the other camera now, if you guys could switch it. Okay, so let's see, because this is, me and Jen have been talking about this part, like since the last class we had. This is my favorite. So I want everyone to smile. And for those who have, hi Lily, hi Frida, hi Jennifer, hi, oh, 2 Jennifers, Shirley, let's see who else I have. I'm gonna scroll through here to see my friends today. I have Angie, Alicia, Brenda, Mary. I feel like the lady from, what was it, Romper Room with her magic mirror. Maria, Pam, Julie. Oh, and I have little Lexi Roth over there, Meredith, Ruth. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for tuning in. It really means so much.
I know you made our week.
So this is the part where if you stamped along with us, I'd love, love, love to see your finished projects. Anything?
Oh, awesome. Yes.
Fantastic.
Angie and Jennifer.
Alicia.
Oh, awesome.
This is great, guys.
And just
Pam,
remember, everything is
Lisa,
practice, 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 and you're going to learn your tools.
That's
You're gonna get
fantastic.
Exciting.
and really, just remember, it's handmade too, so it has your love stamped into it, and it's going. If there's it's perfectly imperfect. Everyone makes mistakes, and gifting it to someone is going to mean that much more to them. And even strive to even sell them to friends, family, and maybe become your own creative entrepreneur.
Definitely. Nothing says, I mean, you're now all of you are like the ultimate gift giver.
Yeah.
That's it. You'll put
I
all
want-
of those Etsy hand stamp businesses out of business. Stamp for everyone, stamp for your neighbor, stamp for the person walking the dog. Like, I literally ask people random questions. I'm like, so what's the dog's name? Like, people in my neighborhood, and then I drop things in their mailbox. So you've now learned a gift. You learned your tools. You're going to keep on using your letter sets. You're going to stamp. You're going to, me and Jen love to see what everybody makes. So definitely you can send us messages on Facebook of your pieces that we love to see. And I just want to take this time to thank Laura and Michaels for having Jen and I. This has been like an amazing experience for the both of us.
Oh,
So thank you.
definitely.
Thank you both very much. And thank you everyone for attending. I'm really excited to see so many faces out there, people who are making. I know there was a question earlier as to whether or not this, that these are valid with coupons, and they are. So please come into Michaels, and check on michaels.com/classes is where we keep the schedule. That's where you registered for this class. We are trying to keep a fresh, itinerary of different classes and content to keep us all making, keep us learning new things, and just having fun. And they're all free. So come back and check us out again. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And this was a lot of fun, and I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys.
With that, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.